Okay, welcome back everybody to the channel. So we've got a bit of a heavyweight head-to-head battle in the driver department today with two big brands, Callaway against TaylorMade. The new drivers for 2021. So we're going to put up the new Epic Max Driver against the TaylorMade SIM2 Max Driver. So there's two forgiving golf clubs. We'll see which one is the straightest hitting as well as maximising that distance in this particular test. Okay, so I've done my in-depth review videos of both of these new drivers, and they both performed very, very nicely indeed. So interesting to put these two side by side. Obviously two massive brands in golf with TaylorMade and Callaway. So we're going to start off with the Epic Max Driver. So this was what Callaway are calling their fastest and most forgiving driver in that Epic family. So we've got this movable weight in this back section, which is 17 grams, and obviously a little bit of a longer club head, so a bit more of a footprint down by that golf ball. So ultimately trying to get that weight as far back as they possibly can, increase that MOI and obviously that forgiveness on those miss hits. Oh, that's a good strike to start off. Just fractionally working up that left side, but really good flight. Yeah, just over that 163 ball speed wise, 286 on the carry. So good distance numbers to start off with. So as I say, I think the really important one to maybe look at, I'm interested to see which is the straightest here, which is going to hit most fairways for me, and obviously that's probably going to be a big advantage maybe for a lot of you golfers out there. You know, distance is great, isn't it? But also the skill is trying to hit as many fairways as you can, because obviously that is going to help you to reduce your scores. That's a nice shot as well. A bit more neutral, really good flight. And like I say, when I reviewed this, I was very impressed with the way the club looks, how it feels, how it sounds. I think they've just got really those acoustics right on the money, I think, with Callaway. You know, they always make, I would say, really good looking product. Even though this Max is obviously a bigger head compared to maybe the Speed and the Max LS, it's still a really good sort of shape and head, and sits very, very square. Again, a little bit higher up that club face, but that's up and away and in that air. What looks to be quite a long time. Be interesting to see that carry. Yeah, 286 there. Wasn't the greatest of strikes. Maybe a touch high in the face. Obviously, that can just see how that just pulls that spin down. So 2,200 with a good launch at 12 degrees. That's sometimes the good misses, aren't they, on that club face? You know, it's much better hitting it slightly high in that club face than it is low, because you'll tend to just pop that launch up and typically pull a bit of spin off. And we all know that's a good sort of make-up for getting a few more yards out of your shots. Yes, that's a little bit of a heel strike. I was expecting that to peel off to the right a little bit more. And again, that's come out very, very neutral indeed. So that's probably a really good sign there of this forgiveness levels that we're sort of talking about. And a lot of the brands are doing it now for 2021. There's a lot of talk around this is the most stable driver they've ever produced, straightest hitting driver they've ever produced, those sort of words. And that's probably a good example there. Definitely didn't middle that heel. I would always expect that heel shot to try and peel off to the right a little bit more, but very much held its line. That's a good strike again. Really enjoy hitting that. It's just very inviting down by that ball. I think with that bigger head shape, it just looks like you can just let it go a little bit more. Okay, so there's 5 shots hit there with that Epic Max. Pretty decent pattern there. Just that little bit of that pull one up that left-hand side has just obviously increased that dispersion ring a little bit, hasn't it? But we tested a little bit of forgiveness on there. Okay, so let's move into the SIM2 Max. Right, okay, so SIM2 Max from TaylorMade. So 2 options, got SIM2 and then SIM2 Max, obviously the one we've got here. So difference between these two is the Max is got more weight in that back section. So this tungsten weight in that back of that inertia generator that TaylorMade call is now 24 grams. Where in the standard SIM2, I think it's about 17 grams. So a bit more weight in that back section. Again, similar sort of process to what we're seeing in that Epic Max. We're trying to pull weight as far back, create as much stability, obviously more forgiveness on those miss hits, and also ultimately, hopefully, straighter tee shots. Again, I've got a 9 degrees, set this at 9 degrees. So clearly there's a big difference of the looks, and this is a personal point from a lot of you golfers out there. When you put a club down by the ball, what's happening on the club head, the colours, the shaping, is it busy, is it quiet, you know, those sort of things. Again, it is a very personal choice. There is a difference between these two. You know, Callaway, we're seeing more of that, just that gloss black, a little bit of carbon, and that's pretty much a little bit of lipstick around the back, and it's pretty sort of calm in a way, isn't it? Whereas when we obviously put TaylorMade down, a bit more going on. You know, we've got that white front section, then the carbon section, we've got more lipstick around the back. To be honest, I'm a fan of both. I probably prefer the shaping of the SIM2 Max. So it's not quite as long from that front to the back section, but obviously we know that weight in that back is a lot heavier. Oh, that's a cracking opening shot. That sounds really good, feels fantastic. Let's have a look at that, how that stacked up. So decent launch, 162, 284, 2.5 spin, some great numbers there for me. I think definitely seeing this in a couple of videos now with the SIM2 lineup of the drivers, is the sound is just absolutely on the money for me. Not quite as dull, as dead sounding maybe as last year's Sim product. It just feels, I think again, it's very similar to the Callaway. They've got the sound really on the money. I think they're both very, very good sounding golf clubs. We know sound has a lot to do with feel and how we interpret that. It does feel really solid, but also quite explosive off the face with the SIM2. Okay, that's good as well. Fraction toe, we've got to get very picky, but it's a good straight flying ball. Good ball speed there, just short of 164. And there are nice opening 2 shots with the TaylorMade, very straight. Again, really good, very solid. Fraction heel, gonna get picky, but again, it's a very neutral flying ball. Wow, those 3 are really straight. This could be a first on my channel if I can get all of them and not increase that circle. This could be going straight in the bag for me. 3 very nice straight tee shots there. And again, they just seem to be really coming out that same window. Very, very similar on that trajectory. That's going to be in there. Wow, this is straight. Got one more shot. Can I keep that dispersion going? Just feels really, really just consistent, doesn't it? Confidence levels are just jumping a little bit more here now with this SIM2. Again, great strike. Just a tiny bit more up that left, but that visually football flight, that's not moving through the air at all. Just a little bit of right to left on that. Just increased my circle a little bit, but that was really good. Okay, let's look a little bit deeper into the performances of those 2 big drivers for 2021. Okay, so obviously looking at the dispersion rings, we're talking about straightness of drivers, less twisting on those miss hits. And to be fair, I had a couple of miss hits with both those drivers. They're just fractionally into that heel side was typically a little bit miss. An odd one fractionally toe. So we can see dispersion ring wise, again, I know we've only hit 5 shots. It's not a huge sample there, but it does give you a little bit of an idea of what's sort of happening. Obviously, if you're going to try and test these yourself, you're going to be hitting more shots than what I've done. But we can see there, definitely a winner on front of the TaylorMade there, much, much tighter. If I take the 2 real left shots out, okay, so I've just taken those 2 left shots, which I hit, one with the Epic and then one with the SIM2. So again, maybe taking those slightly weaker ones, a couple little peel off to the right with the Max there. Again, TaylorMade winning on that dispersion, really, really tight. And then looking a little bit closer in terms of the numbers, I've put those 2 pull shots back into the equation. So I've got all 5 hit with the Max, all 5 hit with the SIM2 Max. So noticeable difference there, club head speed straight away. And I do sort of feel that. It feels like I can move that club a little bit quicker through the air. Whether it's a bit lighter maybe, there's obviously a weight thing. I'm not exactly sure the exact head weight of those 2 drivers, but definitely moving the TaylorMade a little bit quicker through the air. It did feel quite confident with that. Whether that's a bit of that inertia generator in there, maybe a weight is helping to sort of do that, or is it a confidence thing, possibly. So we're looking at ball speed. Obviously, we're going to see a little bit more with the TaylorMade there, purely because we've got a little bit more club head speed. Launch angle, very, very similar. Spin numbers, very, very similar. And actually, the carry totals there are similar, aren't they? Just that little bit less spin maybe with the TaylorMade, just a little bit more spin with the Callaway, just keeping that ball in that air, that fraction longer, so the actual carry distance is very similar. And to be honest, we wouldn't really expect to see a massive difference. We're not really going to see one that's going to go 10 yards further than the other. We know, the ball speed wise, they're all right up there, aren't they, in terms of speed. But again, going back to what we're talking about of dispersion, that's another good aspect to look at, isn't it? It's important, as we mentioned earlier, if we can hit percentage of fairways increase that percentage, should I say, of fairways hit, we're going to shoot lower scores typically, aren't we? So it's also important in terms of getting that accuracy. Okay, so there's a really good test between two of, as I said earlier, the heavyweights in the driver category. TaylorMade up against Callaway, SIM2 Max against Epic Max. Two very forgiving drivers, two very straight hitting drivers as well, but definitely on that front. In terms of the looks, as I say, they are two different looking golf clubs, aren't they? And I like both, to be honest, in terms of that shape. I think just probably purely on the head size, I probably just prefer that SIM2 a little bit more, maybe than the Epic. But then again, I quite like the sort of more quieter look of the Epic in that playing position. Again, that's a very personal choice, isn't it? In terms of the sound of the feel, I think they're both right on the money. I think they've both got a very good sound to them, really good acoustics, really good solid feel. TaylorMade, as I say, just feels that little bit more explosive to me off that club face. In terms of forgiveness, I think that for me was a good test. Again, I've only hit 5 in each, but a good test because I did hit a few heel shots with both. A couple, I think it was an odd toe one with both. Others were obviously good strikes. So that was a good little test of forgiveness there. And I know you guys some of you might move the strike further around that club face. Again, the fitting process is something to go down there and trying to dial in that strike, maybe through shaft length and obviously weight and everything like that. But winning on that front alone in that particular test, I think the TaylorMade is just going to edge it with that tighter dispersion. Okay, love to hear your thoughts as always, so do comment down below between these two drivers. Are they on your radar to go out and try for 2021? Two very, very good drivers. Again, the important factor is there, go get fitted, lots of shaft options, lots of ways you can dial these in to really suit your individual club delivery. Okay, appreciate you watching the videos as always. If you've enjoyed it, do share it around, hit the like button, comment, and also hit that subscribe button if you haven't done so already. And hopefully we'll catch up with you all very soon.